We've had the car about 6 years, and since we got it, we've taken the entire engine compartment completely apart and taken the car down to bare metal, put some roofing tar and tar paper inside to deaden the sound, put some custom braided hoses and electrical looms, Stewart Warner gauges, disc brakes all the way around. Had a engine built for it with low compression for the factory option supercharger, brass tank on the radiator, a custom radiator overflow filler, some other high performance options, Mallory ignition, MSD, the ignition stuff, chromed a lot of the bolts and nuts and some of the stuff for the Paxton supercharger that was on there. Got bored, I guess, with the way that it came from the factory and wanted it to be a little bit different and just kind of be a conversation piece in the family, you know, rather than have the normal arguments, you know, have something a little bit different to talk about.
olden days, I used to go to the Lions drag strip in Irwindale, different places, and I seen this engine in the car that Don Nicholson had. I had this fella by the name of Earl Wade from Monrovia. He's Don Nicholson's old engine builder and mechanic. Built this engine. It was a 700 horsepower. It's a 4 72 cubic inch It's got all the goodies in here. It's got all the pistons, and it's got the roller cams, and it's got the Chrysler Hemi rods.
I own a 68 Mustang Coupe, original owner, over 200,000 miles on the original engine. It was a daily driver for many years. It can be, seen. I still drive it a lot now. My cat sleeps on it. I've put in between $2,000 and $3,000 over the original price. Most of it's unrestored. It is the original roof. The engine has never been opened up or had any major repair work. Change of spark plugs, things like that, radiator. I love the car. I do not plan to sell it until it falls apart. I plan to keep it forever.
In the mid-60s, Ford launched a three-pronged marketing attack to boost both image and sales. The GT350, along with the Cobras and the GT40 racing cars, were to be a part of that attack. In 1964, Shelby was blowing everybody away with his Cobras, and at the same time was given the GT40 program to make it a Le Mans winner. Simultaneously, the Ford Motor Company decided to give the highly successful Mustang line a real shot in the arm. In order to boost the Mustang's image, it would have to be put on the racetrack, and would have to go fast, and would have to be a winner. To make the car eligible for Sports Car Club of America racing, 100 examples had to be built. Carroll Shelby knew that with minor changes and not excessive development costs, that the Mustang could be made into a winner. So with Ford's permission, he ordered up 100 examples to be sent to his Los Angeles factory for immediate modification and homologation. The cars chosen for this program were basically two-door hatchbacks. They were all painted white, they all had the 289 high-performance engine, and were delivered with a Borg-Warner T10 four-speed transmission with close ratio gears. Other special order items included Dutch-made Coney shock absorbers and ventilated front disc brakes, along with Goodyear high-speed blue dot tires. Contrasting blue side stripes were an obvious Shelby touch, but the stripes down the center of the car were an option. Other Shelby goodies included 5 by 15-inch Krager custom wheels and side-exiting exhaust pipes. The high-performance 289 engine was Shelbyized, or should we say Cobraized, with an aluminum high-rise intake manifold, finned aluminum valve covers, a large aluminum oil pan, steel exhaust headers, and a high-performance racing-type Holley carburetor. Using Ford's latest high-lift cam, the GT350 was rated at 306 horsepower with 329 foot-pounds of torque. To keep the front end from moving around in a racing situation, a triangulated steel stamping was fitted from the shock towers to the firewall, and a round bar from shock tower to shock tower increased front-end rigidity substantially. Steering ratio was shortened a bit to provide a little quicker response. Shelby provided his own serial number plate covering the factory stamping made at the San Jose plant. He also provided the front hood, which ended up in about 6 different configurations of fiberglass and metal before they got it right. The interior of the Shelbys were not drastically changed, although they were all black in the early years. Full competition seat belts were installed to give the driver a secure feeling. The Mustang GT optional dashboard was standard. Most obvious in this option was the 8,000 RPM tachometer and oil pressure module added to the center of the dash. Several variations of the steering wheel were used over the years, but one thing for sure, the horn buttons stayed on the dash. While 1966 included many hardware changes, 1967 would signal the beginning of many styling and appearance changes in the Shelby. For 1967, Ford stylists dramatically changed the Mustang's outer shell, and for that reason, Shelby had to start with a completely fresh car. The 1967 models received a completely restyled fiberglass front, nose, and valance section. The side scoops were also new. The bottom scoop helped to cool the rear brakes. The top one allowed air to exit the passenger compartment. A new addition to the Shelby family was the GT500 with a 428 cubic inch engine. The 500 gave the car an extra push in the high-performance market. The side scoops, racy wheels, and front and rear spoiler treatment provided an entirely new, swoopy appearance. There was no denying this was a Shelby. Identification was everywhere. All part of the racing image that was portrayed by the GT40s on the racetrack. Most parts unique to the car were clearly labeled with the Shelby Cobra name. This was not the direction Shelby would have liked to have gone, but Ford marketing people knew their job, and the year-end results in Ford sales showed this to be the right move. The 1967 Shelbys and Mustangs outsold the previous 2 years combined. Let's revisit Willow Springs, the birthplace of the Shelbys, to witness how current owners enjoy their fast cars. It's not unusual to see 1 or 2 vintage Shelby thoroughbreds at the racetrack. These twice-yearly events give Shelby owners an opportunity to enjoy their cars in their most natural surroundings. One of their favorite games is a relay race, in which several 5-car groups compete, 1 car at a time circulating the track for 3 laps, then entering the pits. A runner touches the car and then scoots to the next car in line, signaling it to go. This is an exciting and a reasonably safe event for Shelby owners who take a lot of pride in ownership of their automobiles and certainly don't want to lose their precious investment.
We come out here twice a year regularly. Every time one has the place rented, we're here.
Shelby fanatics, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Watching the runners is almost as much fun as watching the Shelbys. There is also sufficient track time to take friends and relatives for a ride, impressing them with how your Shelby handles on the race course. A unique experience to be sure, and one that Shelby owners enjoy very much. As you can see, the start is the most exciting part of the afternoon. Another method of enjoying the track, if you are a would-be race driver, is to take an experienced instructor with you. Let's take a look at some of this instruction firsthand by going for a ride with driver Alan Bolte, a much experienced Shelby racer. Buckle up. Here we go.
It's a 2.5-mile track. We start out by accelerating with a purpose because what you want to do is minimize the closing speed between the car coming along behind you and of course your turn through turn 1. What you do is want to come through turn 1 and pick up with the left front tire coming around, hitting the little white marks which you roll right over. There are 2 there, letting the car drift all the way to the outside of the racetrack. This is a little straightaway, time to check the tack and check the back. The change of the pavement there is your opportunity to touch the brakes, set the car down, and set it within about 2 feet of the inside of this 450-foot radius turn. The car can be throttle steeled through her relatively easily. You hardly turn the wheel at all because it's a powerful automobile. There's a little white mark on this track coming up right here, and we put the right tire right over it and let the car drift all the way to the outside of the course, and then in transition back to your braking point, which is coming up right here, a yellow mark, and then the shifting point. Then what you do is set the car down and center it over the little yellow marks here, putting the left tires on the little left marks, on the white marks on the right side of the course. Following up here and centering the car over the yellow mark at the top, and then turning the car down and picking up with the right tire right over the yellow mark there and letting it drift all the way to the outside of the race course. Okay, here's your turn-in point. When the car settles down and stops drifting, you hard brake here, shift down to second gear, turn in because the straightaway actually starts at the yellow mark right here. Okay, this is all straightaway from here on out. The car drifts up over this rise, the right tire moves over the little wet mark out there. All the
Old-time Shelby owners will see nothing much has changed at Willow Springs during the past 20 years. It's still driven in the same manner, through the same line, and still offers the same high-speed thrills. These cars are probably just as showroom new now as they were 20 years ago when they were first tested and developed. Today's Shelby owners enjoy the good times Shelby designed into the cars.
The car is a GT500, so it's equipped with the 428 Police Interceptor engine. This particular one has the original block still in it. The only thing that's not original on the engine is the carburetor and the distributor. The car also has the optional 10-spoke wheels, or a cast aluminum 15-inch by 7 wheel. They were on 67s and early 68s. I don't believe you could get them on the late 68s. The car is used only for shows now, club events, and occasional Sunday outing. We used it as a commuter car for several years, though, just up until about 2 years ago.
Big news, of course, in 1968 was the advent of the convertible, now available to the general public. The GT350 now had Ford's new 302 V8 engine, providing some 250 horsepower. The GT500 continued from the 1967 model year with its 428 cubic inch engine and some 350 to 360 horsepower. In mid-year, the GT500KR replaced the previous GT500 with a new Cobra Jet engine and minor body modifications. In their final year, the GT350 and GT500 went out in style and had stayed in the fast lane all 5 years of their production life. The Shelby's stunning performance record is a tribute to the men of the Shelby American organization. Men like Al Dowd, Phil Remington, Ken Miles, Pete Brock, and Jerry Titus. They created an American legend that not only survives, but thrives to this day.
This year's sort of been a struggle for the Mustang. We've done well, we've won some races, but for the last 2 years we've sort of dominated the series. 1985 we won it with Johnny Jones. Last year Scott Pruitt was first, I was second, we won 2. We won the Endurance Championship, we won everything. Probably what we're in need of this year, unfortunately Toyota and Chevrolet, we sort of made them mad the last couple of years, so they sort of ganged up on us this year. So it's been good for the series, because the series has been a lot more competitive. Our cars we've updated, went to fuel injection, changed the geometry around on the rear end, did some suspension changes, and it seems to have helped the car. The cars are running quicker than they've ever done before, so overall we've been really pretty optimistic, considering these Mustangs have been around for, you know, they were designed 4 years ago, and my car has well over 40,000 miles on it, so I guess reliability and dependability has been very important with old Betsy.